It's been a while since we talked about the so-called king of Instagram, Dan Bilzerian. Almost 4 years, in fact. And back then, the illusion was cracking. Dan's web of lies was getting exposed, and his company, Ignite, was circling the drain like something you desperately wish would flush. Dan needed a story to justify his lifestyle. And that story was the myth of a trust fund he supposedly didn't have access to. Meanwhile, he was buying ridiculous luxuries with daddy's cash and passing them off as business write-offs. He spent $75,000 on a paintball field, $40,000 on a rock climbing wall, over $30,000 on custom Star Wars weapons. And that's just the highlight reel. According to Dan, he was free, not bound by his rich parents' rules. But in reality, everything from his mansion to the girls in his Instagram posts were rented props to sell the fantasy of a lifestyle he didn't earn. Ignite's finances told the real story. Millions in flagged expenses, yacht rentals, European trips, a luxury bed frame. Even the paintball vault got listed. That's when I started digging again and uncovered something even more wild. Dan's entire empire, it's propped up by one man, his father, Paul Bilzerian, a man with a long, shady past. See, Paul was no average businessman. He was a con artist, charged with fraud back in the 80s and ordered to pay back $62 million. The SEC claims he spent the next 30-plus years dodging them, racking up a $180 million tab. He was a genius at financial manipulation, using techniques like stock parking and greenmail to quietly take over companies, then forcing them to pay him off just to make him go away. So where did Dan's money really come from? He says poker, private games with billionaires, but everything lines up too neatly with the offshore trust networks his dad set up. Dan even claims he got a trust fund and gave it away to his brother because he didn't need it. Right. All this while living like a king and claiming total independence. Meanwhile, his father continued working behind the curtain at Ignite. Unpaid consultant, they called him. And then came the collapse. The SEC sued Ignite and Paul Bilzerian, but not Dan, keep that in mind, for faking revenue numbers in 2020. They claimed the company sold a huge order of vape pens, which boosted their stock by over 150%. But the buyers said no deal ever happened, no money, no vapes. And when they got audited, Paul allegedly used a shell company he controlled to retroactively fake the transaction. Now here's where it gets wild. Dan turned on his own father. He filed a lawsuit accusing Paul and his partners of conspiring to push him out of Ignite. He says they illegally removed him as CEO and board chairman, all while still using his face to market the company. And Dan wasn't quiet. He exposed his dad's fraud history in the court documents, but he also claimed he was just the face, not involved in operations at all. Come on, Dan. After getting booted from Ignite, Dan shifted gears. His new business? Selling dating advice to lonely men. Enter Sigma Society, Dan's version of Andrew Tate's online empire. He claims he can teach you how to get women, no money or looks required. But here's the catch. It's $200 a month for access to recycled nonsense and a self-help pitch deck. If you earn over $100,000, you can even book a private call with Dan. Lucky you, Dan still pretends he's self-made. He's lied about his military record, claimed to be a cop, and can't seem to tell a story that passes the sniff test. And yet, in the SEC's lawsuit against his father and friends, Dan isn't named once. Some people suspect he may have cooperated with the investigation to save himself, potentially even acting as a whistleblower. After hours of watching Dan's interviews, one thing became clear. This guy is obsessed with pretending to be a regular person. At one point, he literally said if he became a billionaire, he'd go work at Walmart or do construction. Bro, what? So the question remains, is Dan a victim of his father's manipulation, a willing accomplice, or just another rich kid playing pretend with his father's dirty money? Let me know what you think in the comments. Drop a like, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Because trust me, there are plenty more Instagram frauds waiting to be exposed. It's been your boy. Peace.